Hello everyone, welcome to our fourth artist interview. I am honoured to have on today DebuIsCool. You may know their work from Twitter or their work with Dr-Black-Jack, plus size comic artist, among many others. Can I ask what you'd like me to call you in this interview? DebuIsCool is the main name I know you as?
Yeah, we never discussed what name you're gonna... Okay,
Yeah.
call me Debu.
Debu,
Call me
okay.
Debu is fine. Yeah.
Debu, would you like to introduce yourself to the audience?
Hello, everyone. My name is DebuIsCool. I make weird art. You kind of introduce everything about me. It's there's not a lot of personality behind this, so just I make fat art and I do it as a profession.
So, starting off, question I ask a lot of people. How did you start getting into drawing the fat art, the BBW art, the WG art? Where did that start?
Right. The start, I was not... it was mostly money, let's be real. But at the start, I was just very in like a bad place, and I wanted to... I don't know, I wanted to make stuff that I kind of personally liked. And I drew a couple of fat art and posted it on DeviantArt. And since I was actively looking for commissions and stuff, I also did something cheeky, which got me hired by Dr-Black-Jack, which was a very big deal for me at the time. So I started like around 3 years ago, and I started drawing well before that.
Oh, that's understandable.
I started drawing fat art 3 years ago, and like ever since then, my art, I've just been going at it, and it's been such a long journey.
Yeah. Right. Only 3 years, man.
I mean, yeah, 3 years for an FA artist is really small. Like, I think most of the big names have been doing it for like, I don't know, 7 years? It's like insane.
We've got a lot of old schoolers around, but honestly, you would be I am constantly surprised by the amount of like new faces getting in. Like, there are a lot of artists who have been doing it for less time than we've been making our channel, which just is weird to me. Incredibly weird to me that we've been doing our channel longer than some really talented new artists. And so you started on Twitter or DeviantArt, was it?
Oh yeah, I started on DeviantArt because, you know, it was like the go-to FA stuff. So I was like,
traditionally, it has been.
I started off at DeviantArt. I also purposely kept my like pronouns as like she, her, because I thought that would get me more followers.
Is that why? Because
what it got me was just a bunch of like guys messaging me, asking me, "Hey, are you a BBW?" And I was like, "No, bro, no, that's not happening."
I mean, I'm kind of aware that is legitimately a thing that happens, but I keep being like, is it actually? If people think you're a woman, do you just actually get like many weird messages like that?
Well, you would be surprised. It's insane. I mean, it's bad enough just being a regular woman on the internet. It's much weirder.
Yeah.
It's so much worse with like being in the kind of like a fashion industry.
I think I've only had on our channel. People must know we're guys because we've only had one person. Yeah. We've only had one person asking us to be their girlfriend. So yeah, not too many.
Bro. Those are rookie numbers. Get your numbers up, bro.
I know. We need to do
them up.
We need to do
Get more people.
Video where we introduce ourselves as like I don't know, Jessica and Kate or something like that. But I was gonna say, I have always, whenever we do like videos on you, and this is something we do with artists who don't have their pronouns, we always like call them they, them, their, blah blah blah. I've always done that with you because on your profile it's she, her. But then Dr-Black-Jack always called you a he, him. And I was very confused by that. I was like, I'm just gonna skip out on this one and not get in trouble.
Who's this mystery Pokemon? Who is this guy? Where is he coming from?
You're sort of like a successor to Kip in that way. No one exactly knows what gender Kip is.
Yeah,
Or at least
I
there's a
mean,
lot of debate. So,
it's basically like I don't want people to think too much about my gender because I kind of don't matter. It's my art that matters.
that's
So if
understandable, yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't want people asking like very personal questions like oh well where do you live or like what's your at or what's I mean I could have avoided all of that by just going he him. To be fair, it would have been so much easier. But I was dumb. I was just trying to be special.
I don't know. It's always been part of your personality where it's like the mystique there.
Ooh, I'm spooky.
Other question, who are some of the artists that inspired you to, draw
Ooh.
what you draw and inspired your style?
When okay, when I was a wee little lad, one of the biggest artists that inspired me was this Japanese guy. I have a hard time remembering his name. Like it starts with a K. It's really old. Like it's so
Kurokaze?
old. No, Kurokaze is amazing. I actually met him. It's so great
No
to like meet
way,
a fucking
what?
yeah, I meet him in real life.
That's insane.
I was fangirling the entire time. So, Dr. Blackjack, since I've been working with Dr. Blackjack for a while,
Hmm.
Dr. Blackjack does these like trips to Japan from time to
Oh.
time. Yeah, he takes like dude
No
working with
way.
Dr. Blackjack. It's insane working with. Oh wait, Kato is the name of the artist. You
Kato.
probably heard of it. I was like, I want to make that. I want to make yeah, it was so professional and it was
Hmm.
so well done. At
Hmm.
least at the time, because at the time there was like literally no one doing it. There's like a couple of people like Misty Stuffer and like maybe Jito. I don't even think Jito was there at the time. It was so weird, and I started drawing that kind of stuff,
Hmm.
and I was immediately I loved it, but at the same time I was like very guilty about like having this like because there's a lot of like guilt factor that comes with this
Oh gosh, I
because
I know what you mean.
oh it feels awful. It would have been so much more easier to explain if I was just like a regular degenerate, you know? Like just like, oh yeah, I love naked ladies or like I love the big titties. If it was like that, it would have been so much easier to explain to
Oh
people.
gosh, I get that. I get that so much. Oh.
Honestly, I'm kind of lucky that like I feel like most of my friends who know about this have been very supportive. Yeah, even my parents weren't that like they don't want to be involved with it. Obviously, they're not like degenerates themselves, but they are very understanding. I'm doing it as a career, so it makes sense. And like I'm
Nice.
earning money and stuff, so it wasn't like as shameful as I felt it was. But yeah, it was like a lot of it was in my head when it came
Yeah.
out when I started telling other people, "Hey, I do this." Most of them were like, "Oh, cool." They didn't care. I was
Hmm.
very relieved about that. Do you want to know about the Dr. Blackjack stuff? Because it seems like a
It,
very big question
yeah, it
mark for a
seems to be
lot of people.
coming up a lot, yeah. So,
Yeah.
audience, as you may know, DebuIsCool and Dr. Black-Jack are somewhat of an iconic duo. DebuIsCool has illustrated plus size for goodness, like 4 volumes now, or however it's broken up. Straightforward GF, BF, bunch of comics for Dr. Black-Jack. You've been working with him for a long time, and how did that happen? What is the story behind that?
Ooh, as I might have alluded to you
Hmm.
before, I did this epic game remove that is called literally adding him. Literally, like, just kind of mentioning him by name in one of my commission thing. I was like, please, Dr. Blackjack, hire me. And luckily enough, he liked my art enough. So he was like, okay, sure, come on in. Yeah, get on board.
That is
And I thought he would,
amazing.
what's even more insane, so here's what actually happened. Like, I got on board. I was like, okay, so
Hmm.
he's probably gonna give me some like booger cum, like some really stupid, like side project that's gonna be like, oh, just draw like something really small, something infinitesimally like irrelevant. I thought
Hmm.
that's what he would give me.
Hmm.
He gave me a full chapter of Med Girls, which was like a big deal for me because I used to read Med Girls when Satsuro used to make them. I don't know if you have heard of Satsuro.
No, have heard of Satsuro. I wasn't around in Satsuro's era. but I've heard of him. I've seen. I think we've covered one of his comics even.
And it was not just like a one-sided deal, right? Because I was like willing to work for very cheap. I mean, cheap compared to literally everyone else. Every other's artist's like flat rate is around $70 to $100. Like that's what most artists charge.
Yeah,
At least the most established artists, which is like expensive. But I was this guy. I was like, hey, buddy. So the entire first chapter of Med Girls was like $50 per page. I was doing it for half. And Blackjack has had like he was very passionate about like making a proper series out of Med Girls because he has been writing the story for like God knows how long.
From what I've seen, he is serious about the series he's doing.
Oh yeah, you have no idea how long he has been doing it for.
Damn.
And he was so yeah, it's insane. And he gave me the first chapter, and he was like, "Okay, so I want it to be this way and this exact way." And since I was very focused on getting like the client what he wants exactly, I sort of like constantly had to like try to make the pages work. But the thing is, it ended up making the pages a lot more disjointed. So the first chapter we did, it was kind of like, it's not the best, it's not the worst. It was kind of disjointed. Dr. Blackjack is like a literature writer. Like he writes with words, and he wasn't necessarily familiar with comics, at least not as much as. And it was like a really big project at the time as well. So it was like the closest thing he has ever done to that comic was the Doki Doki Literature Club thing. That was the closest thing he had done to something like a comic. So it was, or the Satsuro comic. It was very difficult for us to like have like a rhythm in the first chapter of like, okay, this is how we're doing it, this is how it's gonna go. Then the second chapter we kind of got into a flow, and now I'm working on the fourth. It's a big deal. I'm very happy about like working with Dr. Blackjack. He's an incredible like boss.
Wow, what an origin to friggin' that. Man, I should get. I mean, I have spoken to Dr. Blackjack previously. Mostly I think with my involvement with weight gaming. I don't think I need to tell most people who have been around this community that Dr. Blackjack is a pretty big figure.
Oh yeah, he'll fucking make your career. He'll sponsor your career. Oh, your family is dying of hunger? Well, here comes Dr. Blackjack. Here you go. But I'm joking, obviously. If you have quality work, then obviously.
I remember when Plus Size first started, because I casually followed like Dr. Blackjack's work. I sort of knew about it. There were a lot of words. I didn't read all of them. But I knew like that was like what he did. And I did play his Doki Doki game. I've played both of those on the channel. Those were great. But I was really like excited. Now it's coming back to me. I remember when like the Plus Size Med Girls comic started, and I was really excited. Like, oh man, this feels like something we've been waiting for a while. Where it's finally all these characters these got are gonna be in a proper story. I was like really excited to see that when it first came out.
Hell yeah. You have no idea how excited. I can't even like get myself to like get into the same state because it was so ecstatic. Because for the first time ever, I actually had a job, which was like a big deal as well. It was a big deal for me to get that as like a proper job.
Yeah, that is fantastic. Because you also have done, outside of Plus Size, you've done the extremely straightforward GF one.
Right, I think I've done Mao, the Demon Lord.
Oh yeah, that
Awakening one. I have done Slime Incarnated one with the Shion weight gain.
Yes,
I have done that one. MMO Junkie. Difficult because all of them are so different. You almost forget that like it's made by the same guy.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Was it who did the freaking that one with the girl and the claw machine?
Oh no, that was another artist.
That was someone else.
That was I don't remember their name off the top of my head.
Oh my god,
dude, they're so good.
Their art is really good. But when I think of Dr. Black-Jack, I think of Plus Size, and then I think of that one because that one is stuck in my mind.
Yeah,
I love Dr. Black-Jack's work, and I love that part of his style is, it's not always happy fun stories.
Yeah, a lot of them are pretty dark.
That one messed me up, man. That one messed me. I know that's the
Bro.
Paranoia, which is the real like
Yeah, that's the
horror
dark one.
series. I'm sorry, man. I'm
I
still not over that one.
I did the lettering for that. That's probably why you
Oh,
were confused. Yeah,
you did
because the lettering style is literally mine.
man, a lot goes on into these comics. Damn. But yeah, oh man, fantastic work for MMO Junkie. I love that one. That one was super.
Hell yeah! The last page. Oh, I was so proud of the last page. Dude, I was talking to Spells X, and they
Oh yeah.
yeah, you know who Spells X is, right?
Yes,
You gotta
yes.
know.
Oh
All
yes,
right,
yes, yes,
good,
yes.
good. I was contemplating not doing the interview if you said no. But no, I talked to Spells X, and they showed me their workflow for making comics. My workflow
Oh.
sucks. My workflow
Oh.
is terrible. All right, I make one page at a time. I don't have any plan. I just kind of go into it. All right.
I was gonna like ask about your workflow, but maybe I won't now.
They had a full like rough rough panels of all of the pages up front ready, and then they started
Damn.
working with the pens and stuff. It was insane. I was like, okay, I gotta do that for MMO Junkie, or at least the last page. I was trying to
All
get like
right.
need to get like the best page possible.
I'm really sorry. The last page is fantastic. I think I don't think I think in our video we didn't
Mhm.
show much of the last page. I'm really sorry. It
Well, you
happens.
probably censored it. Yeah, you can't show it on YouTube.
Oh yes, we cropped most of that out because there was too much. One of the most heartbreaking things about doing my job is I could not tell you the amount of cleavage I have had to paint over.
Yo,
Gosh.
I probably didn't make your job easy either. I probably do a lot of those.
Look, man, people keep apologizing. It's like, sorry you had to censor so much. And I'm like, you are making your content for audience. I'm just like hijacking it for whatever the frick I'm doing. You should not be apologizing to me.
You gotta do what you gotta do. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah. One of my other questions was, what is your process when making a comic? What's involved in that? And like, what's the back and forth like when you're working on it with Dr. Black-Jack? We could start with like, what's the process of like doing like a Twitter art?
Twitter art is much more simpler and like essentially I try to whenever I'm sketching, I try to come up with sketches that excite me. I don't have a character in mind most of the time whenever I'm sketching. I'm kind of just
Oh,
trying to
okay.
I try to get like a kind of mood down. Sometimes I
Hmm.
have a character in mind. I sketch the face and the expression first. Try to get like, oh,
Hmm.
yeah, this feeling, this like expression. I like this expression. What
Hmm.
could she be saying? What could her body look like? What kind of pose would she be in? What would she
Hmm.
be eating? Or what would she not be eating? According to that, I try to come up with like a dialogue that is like either funny or at least it makes you feel at least something, you know? That's my
Right.
goal, like
Yeah,
make you feel
yeah.
something. Once the sketch is done, it's all like just a single process. I do the flats, I do the shading, I do the details, and the backgrounds are generally like pre-made. I either do it with one of the 3D models, or I try to get a picture or something. Yeah, I try to avoid making backgrounds myself, not because I don't want. I guess it's mostly because I don't want to. It doesn't really matter. Most people don't notice the background anyway, so I'm like, put a
Yeah.
picture there. I'm very jealous of Tashol. Damn, those backgrounds make me
Oh.
cry. I vibrate with those backgrounds, man. I cannot. I look at those backgrounds and I'm like, wait, where am I?
But yeah, I literally one of my questions was lots of your artwork has like dialogue in it, which is
Mhm.
awesome. I don't know, it just gives a lot of can give a lot of personality to
Oh
characters.
yeah.
I love art with like characters with personality. One of my questions was because if you're an artist, usually you're working with like visual medium. Then when it comes to like adding speech bubbles there, you got to come up with some writing and stuff. And do you have any tips or on writing good speech bubbles?
Well, since they are speech bubbles, you kind of have to think about how they sound. with the overly sarcastic but loving girlfriend. Like you might have seen it, right?
I love that one, yes.
With that, I was like consistently thinking of someone like Marilyn Monroe. How would she speak and how would she try to like communicate? And she would almost be sarcastic, but she's not really sarcastic. She's just trying to like add a bit of fun into the conversation. So I'm trying to think of like her vocal tones and like how would that sound and what would she say and how would that sound. I try to imagine the sounds rather than just write the exact dialogue. A lot of people, what they do is they try to write the exact dialogue that would like sound good, but the problem with writing exact dialogue is that it sounds very mechanical. Like, a lot of speech bubbles I would see is that they write something like, "Oh no, I got fat. I am so turned on right now," or something like that. And like that's fine because what matters is the art. But like that dialogue is very basic, so it kind of ruins the mood.
Out of all the like comics you've done for Dr. Black-Jack, and maybe this is an easy question, maybe this is a hard question, what has been your favorite comic to work on and to make?
It's an obvious answer, the straightforward BFGF one. Oh, bro, that was so fun.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because so here's the thing, all of the dialogue is written by me over there. The plotting was done by Dr. Black-Jack. He was like he gave me a rough cut of the dialogue, and he was like, okay, this is what they would say. This is how they're gonna kind of behave. I was like, okay, I'm gonna up the ante to 100. I'm gonna make them as stupid as possible, absolutely bonkers as possible. And it was so fun. It was so fun. Like there was not one page didn't have like a full dumbass smile on my face when I was making it. So it was really fun. I don't get like a lot of freedom med girls because Dr. Black-Jack has a very specific story, which I'm not complaining by the way.
That makes sense.
I appreciate that. I'd like proper instructions as well. But to get to just be like stupid from time to time, here's the thing: we are going to be doing a Spy X Family one.
Yo, because I mean, on a purely like detached note, it's like statistically, I've seen that Spy X Family, your Forger art does perform very well online. But also,
good,
also I freaking love Spy X Family.
Absolutely,
Freaking love Spy X Family. So that's super hype.
I have done your 3 times, and I have tried to get Dr. Black-Jack to. I have tried to convince him to do the Spy X Family thing so many times. He hasn't even put it into the polls. I like because he's the kind of guy who likes to keep things exclusive, try to make things like feel unique to him specifically. So he doesn't like to follow trends most of the time.
Right. I get that.
So he was very hesitant for the Spy X Family thing, but I was like, no, you gotta do it. It's free money. Please let me do it. I'm a big fan of Spy X Family as well, so I really wanted to do it. He's now reluctantly writing something for me.
Here, you're a hero of the people, man.
Yeah, I got you the thing. We are doing Spy X Family, and we're. I don't know if you're subscribed to the Patreon. I don't think. Are you subscribed?
I am unfortunately not. No.
That's okay. We are currently doing My Divorcee Neighbor, which is another really cool comic. Have you heard of it?
Is that based on an anime? I don't think I have not heard of
No,
that.
no. You should probably see it. It's so it's really good, and it has like a very cutesy art style, and they're currently doing that. This is also very like it was very much like by popular demand as well. So it was also one of the comics that I also had to force Dr. Black-Jack to like post. I was like, please, do this, please. The second it hit the polls, it was like it was inevitable that this was gonna win. None of the other series was getting like. I mean, there was one, but like most of the other series weren't getting as many votes.
It sounds like Dr. Black-Jack is a lot different from how we work. We're the biggest sellouts around.
He has like a very specific vision, and he tries to get that as much as possible. He tries to keep the artist very hands off. He doesn't want to micromanage. And if you ask him to get something done, he will get it done. Even if he's not an artist, he has like the tenacity of an artist, which is like rare to see in anybody.
And the other question was, what character has been your favorite to draw? Is that still the characters from straightforward boyfriend girlfriend comic, or
Out of the comics, at the moment, I think Neighbor, MMO Junkie Neighbor, that's like my favorite to draw as a character.
when you're doing like the comic, what is the process there? Because you've gone over the more straightforward process of just making a single artwork. When you're making a comic, what is involved there?
Well, with the comic, we kind of refined the process over time.
Hmm.
The start, it was just like he just gave me a big bucket of dialogue, and I had to like sort out and try to get the most important stuff out of it. And it was kind of inefficient.
Right.
In the start, it was inefficient, but now he tries to make sure that like every single page at least has a maximum of 40 words. Sometimes it goes over, but like I try to keep him on track of like 40 words per page. Anything more is fluff because the font gets too small and people stop reading. Because at the end of the day, even if you have like a Citizen Kane of a story for your comic, you still are writing a fetish comic, right? So
Yeah.
most people are not going to read over 100 words. So I was trying to convince Dr. Blackjack to like get less words in. So 40 words per page, maximum of 4 panels, because we still. So in the start, Dr. Blackjack wanted each page to be 6 panels, which is fine for a regular comic, but for a fetish comic where there has to be one specific panel that shows off the body, considering we are going to be.
Yes.
Sometimes it's necessary for everything to be small just so that we have proper communication. But most of the time, you kind of want to have at least one picture that is like, oh, this is a belly. Wow, with a big. A big.
That is exactly how DeviantArt commented sound.
I don't think bad of them. I think they're fun. So we have like 40 words page, 4 panels. Generally, I kind of go start. I sit down and I draw and I finish drawing by 3 hours, which is pretty fast for a comic artist. 3 hours for the kind of pages I am doing. That's pretty fast.
3 hours. That's a whole page from start to finish, colors and everything.
Yes.
Yeah, that is wow. That is not bad actually.
I've kind of gotten down to 2 now, because I've been doing so many pages. You have no idea how many pages I've been doing. Because I'm thinking of like taking a break at August, so I need to get like as much work done, crammed before I take that break. So I try to get. So each month we have to get 8 pages done. So most of the time I'm like free. Each page we first do like a layout of like, oh, here are the panels, here's a couple of sketches. Generally we don't put the dialogue first, but if it seems necessary to put the dialogue first, we put the speech bubbles as well. I send the layout to Dr. Blackjack, see if he has the approval. He gives you the approval. Generally he gives you the approval. He very rarely has any notes. We have like a proper rapport. We know what the other person wants, so we don't try to get in each other's way for.
It sounds like Dr. Blackjack like gives you a lot of like creative freedom.
Oh yeah, it's good and bad at the same time, because it's good because when I have creative freedom, I am responsible for how good the comic is going, right? Or at least I am 60% responsible.
Yeah.
Right, because writing is there. The writing is good. Generally, I've never read a chapter and felt like, wow, that was bull. Like I never felt that.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, yeah, that's pretty good. It's my job to make sure that I make the pages work. And sometimes, you could get caught up and you're not as motivated. So you bang out a page in like 2 hours and you're kind of just okay with it, but you send it out. And Dr. Blackjack won't say anything. And the good part about that is that like I don't have to worry about constantly performing. The bad part is if I'm not performing, it's my fault. So it's like a double-edged sword with that kind of deal. But I'd appreciate the freedom much more than I would have ever appreciate a boss that is like very finicky.
Yeah.
By no means am I remotely suggesting that like Dr. Blackjack is like hard to work with or a bad boss. He's like kind of the perfect boss you can ever ask for.
That is so cool. That is so cool to hear. What a guy. Thank you, Dr. Blackjack. You're awesome.
Oh yeah.
So after like the layout is done, it's sort of like just a bunch of mini artworks, how you do your normal art.
100%, yeah. I have like a very specific process. Like, I mean, I try to make sure that the coloring process is like very fast, I have like a color palette ready. I have
Oh,
all of
right.
the references ready. If I have any specific mood lighting, I have it have a note in the script itself. Script is more like a screenplay than a script, right? So it's not.
Oh,
It
right.
shows exactly how each of the pages is gonna be. Like, oh, this is the pose they're gonna do. This is the mood. This is the like. Dr. Blackjack has been trying to communicate as exactly as he can. He tries to do things according to the artist. If
Right.
the artist seems to benefit from more creative freedom, he gives them as much freedom as possible. If the artist seems to benefit from more restricted thing, he tries to be more restricted.
I want to get on to your topics about like making as an artist. Just before
Yeah.
that, I did just want to ask any other like artists that inspired like you, and particularly I'm curious, like, are there any particular artists that like inspired like your style?
If it's my style that you want to know, it's mostly Studio Trigger. Studio Trigger, Gurren Lagann, and
I kind of see that now. I
Kill la
kind of
Kill.
see that
Yeah.
now. Yeah, yeah.
So those are like the big ones. Artists that inspire me, there's so many to count. Tito, you had him on, which is like very cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
Tito, I like Bamboo's work ethic. You have no idea how much he draws. Like
Damn,
the
Bamboo
man
Ale,
is
yes.
Bamboo's crazy with the amount he draws.
Mm.
I At the moment I'm really inspired by Spellzack's comics. Very inspired by Gelatin Jet. I'm also inspired by Woot. Woot
Woot.
is
Oh,
really
I
good.
love Woot.
And like I said, Tashol.
Mm.
If I were to actually give you a list, there would be like 80 names on it or something. There's so many. Yeah, these are like the top six.
I will say, it is like I feel like our community of like artists has grown so much in like over the last
Yeah.
10 years. And I feel like particularly like in
Oh
like
yeah.
recent years, it's like we have so many talented people. Like you know yourself who came in 3 years ago. Like so many like
Oh,
talented new people are in this, and like I just don't think it was like nearly the same like 10 years ago or so.
oh no, it was terrible.
Damn, damn.
It was- because here's the thing: the good artists posted like once every 8 months. The oldest good artists that I remember were Bamboo Ale is pretty old as well, but like even he started like 6 years ago or 7 years ago, I think. I don't
Mm.
actually know. The OG artists, they were like the guy that I just told you, the like the Japanese guy,
Mm.
Kato. So, like there was another Japanese guy, some Tenjutsu something something. I'm saying Tenjutsu. It's not his name, but he did like a Lucky Star weight gain comic.
All
He was
right.
really good. He There was Satsuro, who just straight up stopped. Like he just went away. He's gone. He's nowhere to be found.
By the time like I was like we were doing what we are doing, Satsu I don't think Satsu was active like even when we started up or anything.
Satsuro was kind of the best of the best at the time. Like if you wanted quality ad art, Satsuro was the go-to. There was Tubby Tunes, I guess. Tubby Tunes was there. There was also Magic Straw. Dude, I love Magic Straw. Ah, it's so good.
Magic
I
Straw
love
is good.
Magic Straw. Such a simple art style. I love it. Like I don't know how you. Ah, it's so good.
Want to get to one of the big things that you wanted to talk about, which is advice for artists, newcomer artists, people thinking of getting into the fat art sphere, and like advice for them as like someone who has made it like a career. And yeah, honest, that is awesome when you could do something like that as a job. Very cool when you could do that. That is like the
Pretty
dream.
cool.
So, lot to talk about there. Starting off with, is it too late to start making fan art, especially on Twitter?
Here's the thing. No. Twitter is one of those weird places where there's almost never enough good content. Even if like even if there are like 7 to 70 really good artists that constantly make
Mm.
stuff, there's almost never enough good content. If you have the talent, the Twitter as a platform will definitely promote you because Twitter wants people to stay on the platform. So yeah, it's definitely not too late
Mm.
start making stuff. I've seen some like a lot of like Japanese and Korean artists that just started like 2 to 3 months ago, and they get like 3 to 4,000 followers. It's very possible even now.
Art trades. Should you do art trades as a artist trying to get started?
Here's the thing: not with strangers. Don't do art trades with strangers. Don't do art trades as a excuse to make friends. That doesn't work the way you want it to work most of the time. Especially if
Yeah.
you have good art and the person who's trading with you doesn't, or at least not to your standards, then it's not going to be a fun transaction. Even if they give you something, it's not going to be as good as you want it to be. So generally, it's art trades are really fun as like friends. If you're already friends, doing an art trade is like the best thing you can do. But otherwise, don't. Try to avoid it with strangers.
Big question is probably people haven't, just getting into it would ask, how much do you charge for doing a commission?
Well, I generally market rate for like a decent FA artist is generally $70 to $100 for like a full body. I think I'm pretty sure it's a full body. It could be more. Like you charge based on skill and necessity. So if you are able to make 4 drawings a month, you need $500 per month. You charge like around 120 for each of those drawings. So that's necessity. If you're charging according to necessity, that's how you charge it. If you're charging according to skill, then try to charge it according to how everyone else does. So if you see someone who is just as skilled as you, or like maybe more skilled as you, charging something, try to see if you can get away with a higher price. See if you can. Most people won't bargain with you, but you need to make sure that like the price also feels like quality, right? A lot of people have this misconception that if you charge really low, you will get more commissions. That's not how it works because people who pay for commissions generally tend to want quality art. They want quality art made for them specifically. So when you charge less money, it makes them feel like, oh, they're paying for something cheaper. It's kind of like buying a perfume. Like you can buy the cheap one, but you would always feel that it's cheap, even though it smells good according to you. And you can buy the expensive one, and even if it's like just the same, you would still feel like there was some class within that thing. It's an illusion, but at the same time, it's real. So like you try to keep that in mind.
It's sort of and I've never done commissions, but an impression I get is that there's like a kind of person, or not, it sounds to me to say kind of person, but there's like a kind of person, a specific market of the people who get commissions, like separate
Yeah.
from the people who just follow art. There's like that particular kind of person who spends money on commissions, and that's the market that you're trying to get. Is that accurate?
Yeah, 100%. That's you hit the nail on the head. You're not trying to get everybody. You're trying to get the people who actually want to pay for art.
For getting like more attention and more people interested in commissions, does your art style matter? How important is your art style to that?
A lot of people seem to feel like, oh, they don't have a good enough art style. It doesn't quite work. You don't necessarily need to make the highest quality art to get people to like your content, right? Most of the time. You would notice that JoeQuel has a very simplistic art style, but people love that, and I love that as well. Like I personally like JoeQuel's art. Have you heard of JoeQuel?
I've covered a lot of his art on the channel. Love Joe Keel's stuff.
Yeah,
Very good.
you're
Yes.
right. It's so simple, yet you absolutely love it. You adore it, and it shows that like you don't have to be like the best artist. You just have to have like a certain feel to it. You're trying to capture the feeling of like softness and stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of factors about the feeling that goes into the artwork, and you're just trying to capture that feeling. That's your main goal. Capture the art feel rather than the art style. Because there are a lot of people who draw in different styles all the time and they do fine. Like I draw in different styles all the time and I do fine.
If you're a prospective artist, should you do this as a job? If you're thinking about it, what would you recommend to someone who's wondering, should I become a fat artist?
If you like drawing a lot and if you like fat people, if you like both of those things and it feels right, I think you should definitely do it as a job. But I will warn you about this. It is just like any other job,
Mm.
by which I mean it is you have to look out for the client. You have to look out for the people. You have to
Mm.
make sure that you're trying to meet needs, right? If a client approaches you, if a commissioner approaches you and says, "Hey, I want this waifu in this way" or whatever, you gotta be able to know how to meet that need rather than like a lot of people feel exhausted trying to draw something others want. And I get that. If you're doing art just as a passion, it feels very cringe to want to make art for other people. Like, oh, I want this obscure waifu to be like 700 pounds. Please, please, artist, do this. And I know this can feel a little bit like bad because you're trying to do something outside of your comfort zone. But you need to get comfortable with that idea. If you're going to do this as a job, you need to get comfortable with the idea of doing something for other people, doing something with the intention of like pleasing a client or, you know, making a quality work and treating it just like you would treat your own art. Try to take ownership of your art.
Anything else you should prioritize if you are a fat artist wanting to make a job out of it?
Big time. Speed and communication. That's it. If you can hit your deadlines every time, you will not suffer for a job. If you can hit your deadlines and you're good at communicating. When I say good at communicating, a lot of different commission people have different personalities, right? So some commission people are very like feel based. They don't have like perfect vision, but they know that they want this character to be fatter. So they kind of go like, oh, well, she is eating a lot of food and she's like sitting on a table and I want it to be exciting. And, like they won't use specific words, but they would try to communicate feelings. So you need to be able to know that like, oh, okay, so this person wants me to focus on like the expression and how the art style feels, like the hands and the body language and what kind of foods they're eating and the colors and stuff. So that's feeling based commission person. Then there's the visual commission person who will give you like so much details. He would fill your like entire text box with details like, oh, she has to have these earrings and these dresses and this lining, and I want to make sure that this color is there and this is there. And you need to make sure that you only focus on the important parts there. If you have a commission person who's giving you a lot of details, try to see if you can consolidate those details and try to make it as concise as possible and try to get like a vision within those details, like what's the pattern within those details. Those are the two types of commission people. And like speed, prepare a date, tell them, hey, this is the date I'll give you your work, and do it at that time because there's so many artists. Dr. Blackjack complains about this all the time. Most artists don't hit their deadline, which is very
Alright.
annoying. Which is extremely bad for like whales like Dr. Blackjack, who's like pumping out money for the Patreon and like trying to make it into a legitimate business, right? It's very difficult when the artist misses their deadlines and like Dr. Blackjack doesn't have anything on their hands, so he's just kind of like right. So it's bad. So you
Yeah.
gotta hit your deadline. Those are like the two main things. And obviously, quality of work. Try to improve your quality as much as you can. But the most important parts were those two.
How do you start to get commissions?
Ooh, those are tough. Your first commission probably won't be from a whale. So there are two types of clients. There's the I want this one specific thing done, and I want it done well. And there's the whale client. Whale client generally has stuff beyond just the commission. They want like a series of commission. Both of these are like differently approached. Whales are generally very willing to try new things, but they're also have also been burnt a lot. Whereas people who are doing just one-time commissions, they're much more scared. They're like much more careful, much more like conservative with their money. So generally, your first few commissions will just be like singular art clients. Generally, saying that you have commissions open after you get like a decent amount of following. Decent doesn't mean like 20,000, 10,000. You just need like 1,000 maybe 2,000. Like you get to 2,000 following and you can get commit. Even if your artwork isn't like gelatin gent or anything, you can still get commissions. So commissions are not rare, although it's very difficult to get a whale to be interested. If that's like if your job, if you wanted to make it a job, then getting whale clients would be much better. I hope it's clear what I mean when I say veil clients. I'm not calling my clients fat. I'm saying that they're constantly recurring.
I get that's not me, but like one of the topics that you wanted to talk about is, and this is your words, are white whales like Dr. Black-Jack rare? It sounds so mean.
I'm not making fun of him, okay? It's not. That's not what's happening. It's what it is. It's like, okay, well, we call them whales because they are consistently either getting you work or either giving you money. With Dr. Blackjack, he's constantly giving me work.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
yeah, I was not making fun of him.
It's
Okay,
it's an art community thing. I get that. I get that. But yeah, people like that who will give you regular work, who want a lot and are prepared to pay for consistent work. How rare are those people, and how difficult is that to get people like that interested?
To be fair, I am kind of in a lucky position where I have like a decent following and I have decent art, so people do want to commission me very often. So I could be speaking from a privileged position, but I don't think they're as rare as most people might think. It's not as rare. Even when I was starting out, I got like a couple of sequence
Oh,
commissions. So it's
nice.
not, yeah, it's not impossibly rare, but it is. You do have to have like the artwork for it, I assume.
What should be the focus for artists looking to earn money with this?
Oh, it's the same focus for getting more commissions. It's just speed, communication, and quality of work. Obviously, quality of work will get you more followers, and if you get more followers, you will get more commissions. The good thing about quality of work is it's essentially like a social proof, right? You can just essentially ask for more money. Even if you are
Right.
able to get your artwork done in like 30 minutes, you can still ask for like 70, $80.
If you have the quality there, right.
Yeah. Kurokaze finishes a comic page in like 30 minutes.
Damn.
And he charges $70 to $80, I think. Maybe more, but like $70 to $80 for 30 minutes, that's insane. That's pretty good. And if you have quality of work, you could also like start up a Patreon. And Kitsune and Better with Salt earned like.
They're doing pretty well. They're doing pretty well.
So yeah, like if you want to earn money, if money is your focus, quality of work. You gotta give people what they want as much as you can. Obviously, Kitsune doesn't exactly do that. They try to do specifically work that they personally like.
Another question is, should you focus on getting a bigger audience or optimizing a smaller one? And in any case, how do you get a loyal following?
Always try to optimize a smaller audience. If you're trying to make this a proper job, trying to optimize a smaller audience is going to go a lot further. So I read this book called This is Marketing, and in that says you only require around 2,000 true fans to earn around like a decent living. If you have 2,000 real fans, 2,000 real fans means these are people who will pay for anything. Anything you make, they will pay for it. If you have 2,000 people who are willing to pay $5 per month, that's $10,000 per month. So if that's your goal, if your goal is to make it a career, you gotta focus on making sure a small but passionate minority are like fully on board. The problem with trying to get like a bigger audience is that you can like a wall a million times, right? But most people who look at that wall are going to be like, okay, that's wall, I guess. That's pretty good. That's cool, I guess. Whereas a smaller audience may not be as spectacle oriented or like may not be as popular, but these are people who absolutely love it. Like you might have had a specific song or a game that you and a very small chunk of people have played and you just absolutely love. like something like Disco Elysium. Have you heard of Disco Elysium?
Yes, I have heard. Never played it though.
It's a very sort of unexciting game. It's very like you have to read a lot and you have to do a lot of choices, and it's like role play heavy and it's very long. It earned around 1 million to 2 million.
Damn.
Think it earned around that much in the first year, I think. So it earned a lot, and it was such a specific game. It was such a specific audience, the people who play D&D and the people who like expansive role-playing options. They love. I obviously love the game as well, but yeah. This is also similar to what Kipsune does as well, because they
True.
specialize with like just one kind of body type, and they try to do the best they
Yeah,
can
yeah.
with that body type. So yeah, absolutely optimize for a small audience. Don't try to get bigger numbers. Bigger numbers are fine, but they are not. It's not as valuable.
And so on that, should you be worried overly about likes and favorites? Is like that something to should you always be checking that statistic and looking at that?
I would say you should look at it, but you shouldn't be worried about it because what it is just feedback. If you're a YouTuber, you probably have heard of this. Have you seen that like 1 out of 10 metric that comes on YouTube in the analytics? Have you seen that?
Oh, yes, no, I know, and yes, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and almost everyone I've heard talking about it hates it because it gives them so much anxiety because like, oh, this video is not performing as much as the first one. Oh no, this is not doing as well. Oh no, and the problem is art is such a personal, unbelievably emotional process is that many people cannot take that feedback not seriously. They have a very hard time detaching themselves from that number and they just get into it. I've seen so many artists just stop posting because they were so scared of disappointing their audience, which is not true. What that number is basically how much did your audience like this new work. It's not the worth of the work. It's not the value of the work. It just means how much did they like it. And if they didn't like it as much, that's just kind of like, oh yeah, they had low interest. That's fine. You should take that as a hint rather than some like profound judgment of like your value or the value of your artwork. Very few people have the skill of like detaching themselves from that number. If you develop that skill, that would help you big time to get more numbers. If you're able to detach yourself from likes and favorites. Ironically enough, like if you don't care about likes and favorites, it's easier to get more likes and favorites.
One thing that, how do you deal with the fear of people finding out? And also, if you're considering about, maybe not doing it forever, or like you think if I get a job in the future, how could that come to haunt my other job prospects if I look for a job afterwards?
Well, first of all, it depends on what the other job is. If you're trying to be a politician, yeah, don't do this. No, if you're trying to be a politician, try to avoid this. But if you're
That makes sense.
if you're trying to do a job in like tech, or a job in something like medicine or something like that, like it really doesn't matter. Obviously, if you're trying to be an actor or actress, that could be like kind of a cringe thing to have come up. But I doubt many artists are trying to go into like acting jobs. Most artists are probably going to try to do one of two things. They are either going to go into like the gaming and art industry, like trying to make concept arts and stuff, or they might be trying to become like a YouTuber or something. That's where like most of the fear comes from.
Yeah.
At least when it comes to the job. When it comes to the job, I don't think people care that much when it comes to YouTube. At least you might have heard of Pyrocynical.
I
Yeah,
want to get him on. I don't know if it's gonna happen.
it would be so cool to have him on. That
I
would be
know,
insane.
I know. I keep thinking I should just add him on Twitter, but I don't want to come out off as that guy who's like, "Senpai, notice me, please." But yeah,
But yeah, Pyrocynical has been outed not only as a furry, but like as a fat fetishist, like multiple times, and people don't care. His views didn't take a hit. Neither did his audience change in any drastic way. Still the same. They still think of Pyro as Pyro. Unless you're trying to do content that is like specifically like if you're like I don't know boyfriend ASMR kind of guy, and yeah, that might be a little bit of a, or if you're like Saikuno or something who's trying to do like maintain like a very specific image, it might be a bit of a disadvantage to come out as like that artist. But if you're like a gaming channel, who cares? If you're like a gaming channel or a commentary channel or whatever, like you're trying to do as a job on YouTube, fine, fine, don't worry about it. If you are worried about the concept art being like a problem, Merdelli, I don't know if you have heard of Merdelli. He did the Tomo comic recently.
Oh,
He
yeah.
got hired. Yeah, he got hired by Wizards of the Coast with his portfolio filled with fat drawings.
That is so
So
based. That is amazing. That is
that is
awesome.
that's some Sigma male activity. Okay, so yeah,
Hell
you don't have to
yeah.
worry about you don't have to worry about your like fat art being a problem in a job sense. If you're worried about your fat art being a problem in a social sense, and most people who are like kind and normal generally tend to not. Most people don't care. I'm from like a very conservative country. Obviously, if it's illegal, try to not do it. Like if you're in
Right.
a country that it's like if you're in Iraq or something where it's like straight up illegal, then maybe not. Maybe don't do this. Like in an even if you're in a third world country, it's not as bad. It's not like socially speaking, it's not like some social debt is gonna happen. Like, oh, now you have no friends and nobody's gonna talk to you, and you're the freak who likes fat women. Like, no, most people don't care.
I feel something relevant here is anyone who is familiar with like manga artists, good grief,
Oh
I
yeah,
cannot tell you how many of those manga artists have also done other manga
oh yeah.
that's a little more
The pause before the other manga.
other manga that's a little spicier than what they usually do, and that's just like something that's like just very
Oh
normal
yeah,
in like manga
wasn't
industry. So very
I'm sure.
common for people there to do that, and people still like respect them immensely as like artists. So
There's also plus size, the plus size elf thing. It's like a mainstream manga now. And a lot of people think normal manga means like something completely different. Like, oh, you cannot have any like, dirtiness within it. Chainsaw Man was all like half the time it was horny. And I'm not saying this to like discredit Chainsaw Man or anything. Chainsaw Man is really good. I'm saying this to confirm this idea that like drawing weird things is not as unaccepted as you might think. Some artists are very scared of this because they want to appear as professional. If you're so concerned about your self-image as a professional artist, it's gonna be very hard for you to work. Like, don't introduce yourself as like the fat artist, but maybe like if someone points it out or if you get called out, just go like, hey, yeah, I did this. Either you did it because you wanted money, or you did it because like you liked it.
big question here. How do you improve your drawings? How do you get better? Impossible question.
It is a bit difficult. Most artists would probably say something like volume, like draw a lot. And yeah, that works kind of. For me, I think it's much more important to have like a specific goal. So drawing happens most of the time in the mind rather than the hand. Like if you're like a gamer, right? And if I were to tell you to, hey, draw me an Xbox controller, you would probably draw much better than an artist who has never seen an Xbox controller before or only has seen the Xbox controller once. Even if the artist's rendition of the Xbox controller would look technically better, yours would be more correct. And that would be because your mind has been able to absorb where everything is and how everything looks and how it fits in your hand and how it feels. So you are much more familiar. And familiarity is what is important when it comes to improving art and being able to draw whatever you want in your mind. So, first thing you need to do in order to draw whatever you might want in your mind is get familiar with what you want to draw, right? Like if you are inspired by someone like Yusuke Murata or Kim Jung-gi, or you're inspired by Tatsuki Fujimoto or someone like that, you look at their art and try to copy it. Try to see if this is the ideal that you want. This is like, oh, okay, this is the kind of artwork that I'm trying to go towards. And a few things that I will tell you to focus on when it comes to like fat art specifically, or focus on anatomy, obviously.
Ah,
Try
yep.
to make the anatomy anatomy and body language as best you can. Everyone saw this coming, but it's also important to have like a goal and stuff. So focus on anatomy, focus on faces. Faces is a big challenging part. And it's not just like making a pretty face, it's also having interesting expressions that could make the art feel more personal and more emotionally charged. Hair, I suck at hair. Uh, be better than me. Most fat artists suck at hair, so if you do really well with the hair, you might stand out. Hands, I suck at hands as well. I I should be taking my own advice.
Damn.
Hands are it's more important to have expressive hands than accurate hands. Learn the gesture of the hands, and most of it is experience. So try to draw as much as you can. It's not about drawing a certain number of times. It's trying to draw for as long as you can, or more consistently over time. Someone who has drawn for 12 hours for one day is not going to be as good as someone who has drawn for 1 hour for 12 days. That's kind of what it is. So it's very much consistency based. Actively try to find your flaws, try to fix those flaws.
I did like where this was going, where you were like, you need to become familiar with what you want to draw. And I was like, I see where we're at.
Yeah.
Look at fat girls a lot. Awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Stare at them in public, in private, anywhere. Just stare at people. Yeah, that's my goal. That's not what I. Please don't sue me.
Oh man, with the amount of time I spent looking at fat ladies online, damn, I'm ready to become an artist.
You would be surprised how well you draw. Like if you try to draw something, like even now, I'm sure you would be surprised by how well you draw it.
Right, right. Anything else that you think is really important to how to get going, how to earn money, how to make it a job? Anything else that I may have missed or we haven't covered there?
Animation is not hard. That's my message to everyone out there. Animation is not hard. All you have to do is draw. Try not to be too afraid with the idea of animation. Animation is hard in the long term. In the short term, if you want to make something cool, just draw and try to mimic the artist that you like. Because we don't have a lot of animators in our community. So if you're like an artist that actually wants to stand out like immediately, if you make good animations, you would stand out like that. You would like immediately, and you would get tons of money as well. So that's a helpful tip for any artist out there who's trying to make it.
I was going to say, that does lead into one of my other questions, which was, you're an artist who did mostly like just like artworks, but then started making animations, and I've done quite a bit of that.
Yeah.
How was that? How did that was like the process of starting making animations and the learning process there?
I would say invigorating for me.
Right, okay.
Like you would assume animation is extremely difficult, and it is, but there's like this video called How to Make Smooth Animations, and he gives you exact perfect steps to follow to make your animations the way you want them to. The thing about animations for me, it was like I wanted to make an animation for the longest time.
Right.
So when I went into it, I was very scared that, oh, this is going to be so hard, this is going to be such stressful. I was able to make like a 15-second animation in 9 hours, which is pretty good for an anime.
For your first animation, yeah.
Not my first, but like I've been animating for a while.
Oh, right. Okay, okay.
But it's always fun to see the end result with animation. So if there's a thing that I can advise for young animators, I would say keep finishing stuff. You will see yourself getting better much faster than you ever expected to get better at. I promise you, it's worth it. That was my learning process. It's worth it. That's my learning process.
If you can animate, then I'm, as a fan myself, it's like I'm gonna take an interest in your work because it's like that's not something we see very often.
Yeah, 100%.
Last thing I just wanted to do was just talk a little bit about your OCs, because I do like your OCs. I just want to say, big fan of your characters.
Hey.
How do you come up with the ideas for the OCs? Like when you're drawing a new picture, how does that like brain process work? Of like,
I try to come up with a character that I really feel connected to. Like I try to come up with a character that I hear and I go like, I would love to see them. Yeah, I would love to see them like actually there. A lot of it is just the joy of creating characters. It's hard to explain Creating someone with a personality that you would like to see in real life, or just a personality that you find similar to someone else's personality, but like now you're translating into a whole different character themselves, and it's like it's very exciting. It's always fun. I try to capture the feeling of like playfulness and like kind of funniness with my characters. I don't know if I make them funny particularly, but I hope they're playful. Like when you see them, you're like, oh yeah, that's kind of interesting. This is one of the main reasons why I started Twitter because I wanted to see what kind of characters and like drawings people like. So I was just testing. I kept posting to test whether people like those or not. And for the most part, I was pretty successful with whatever characters I made. Some were kind of duds. I ain't gonna lie, but
I'm
the
curious.
ones that
Which are the ones that people weren't so interested? Which are the girls who people were like, nah?
there was this tomboy esque character. It was a sketch, and I made a poll for like people wanting to see these as like proper characters. So that was kind of a dud. There was another one I think, which was the Apocalypse one. The Apocalypse one got a lot of likes.
Yeah,
Most
yeah.
people didn't. Most people didn't seem to want to see like a continuation for it. So I was like,
Ah.
oh, okay. There are a few that was just like that did so much well, so much better than it should have. Like the weird goth girl.
Is she the based on the Wojak character?
Yeah,
That Wojak character, I swear, man. Like people are that's a she is a waifu. Like unironically, like people are into that Wojak.
oh yeah, big time. I was very surprised. I was very surprised by people liking the maid that I made.
The
People really like
maid.
that one.
Oh, the maid is
Yeah,
so cute.
I was very surprised. I was very surprised by the people liking the sarcastic girl as well, because I wasn't planning on making her like a thing.
But she's got like her whole own series now.
Yeah, it was like a big deal. Yeah.
I just freaking love her pictures of like just her being like, oh no, I can't possibly be fat. It's just so funny. Also, you're a nerd girl. Her design is like perfect. Oh, Almond.
All
Wow, she has a
right.
name. Yeah.
Yeah, she has a name, Almond. Yeah, yeah, I like her as well. I'm surprised people like the ones that I like personally. I'm very grateful.
I was scrolling through and I saw this one, and I mean, this one is. I don't think you've ever done this one again, but like, I'd be pretty keen if you did another one of this one.
All right. Yeah, this one was also one of those that didn't do as well.
Damn it!
Uh,
Wow, this is literally exactly my type, man.
All right, I'll try to do her justice. I like these kinds as well, so like I'll try to do her justice sometime. There's there's Alkema that wasn't as popular. She was I was very happy about her, but like I don't know, people
Yeah.
didn't like her as much. I was very proud of her. I was like, what the heck? Why not? Why not this?
And the last character that I did want to mention that I really liked, the snobby rich girl with the gluten allergy.
Ah,
Oh,
dude,
that one
it's
is
so
good.
I don't think I did her again. I don't like. I think I did her just once and then like forgot about her. And it got pretty popular as well. Until now, my most popular drawing is of your forger, because of course it is.
I saw
Of course.
that coming. I saw that coming. It is a thing where people love seeing your forger. Like she is so popular as far as like art goes.
Dude, I love your forger.
I do too, yeah. Yeah, that is about, I think, covered all the topics I want to cover. If you want to wrap this up, we can do a little outro here.
S- Subscribe, like and subscribe to Sniff and Snide. Follow me on my Twitter, even though I don't post anything. Follow Dr. Black-Jack because he posts most of my stuff. And check out our Patreon. We are doing a lot of good stuff there. Like I know this sounds like I'm selling it to you, but like I am pretty proud of the stuff I'm doing there. So if you guys want to check it out, I really recommend you.
Oh, I wanted to say thank you so much for coming on, Debu. It's been incredible the amount of like insight you've given here, and I really hope that people thinking about going to art or like new artists, like just getting started, can put all your advice to good use, because you've been very, very thorough in like talking about how it is to be an artist and like giving the practical advice on like how to make it work. And man, I appreciate that. And I do also appreciate you coming on here and giving me so much of your time. I really appreciate it, and it's been wonderful talking to
Oh yeah.
you.
It's been wonderful talking to you as well. Thanks for having me, man.
Oh, thanks for watching, everyone. Yeah, definitely check DebuIsCool out. And yeah.